This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, nerds. I'm Mark Weber, and you are listening to A Graphic Conversation, the bi-weekly podcast where we read, discuss, and review the best, and hopefully not the worst, in graphic novels. I am joined today, as I always am, by my good friend and fellow man-child, Ricky Widmer.
Sup, nerds?
And for this one, we read The Ghostbusters.
The new Ghostbusters, Mark.
Yes, Ghostbusters Volume 5, The New Ghostbusters, because... well, let me tell you a little something about this graphic novel. So, the Ghostbusters that we all know and love have mysteriously disappeared and are nowhere to be found for months. But that doesn't stop the ghosts from still haunting all over New York. So, we got to assemble some loved, if you like the comics, some various characters from here and there to get together and become the new Ghostbusters, so that way they can not only help out New York, but find out whatever happened to the old Ghostbusters. Mm-hmm. So let me tell you a little something about this podcast that we do. So the graphic conversation, or a graphic conversation, not the graphic conversation, is where we, like I said, we're going to read, we're going to discuss, we're going to review. But what we do is we do it in a spoiler-free zone first. It's a safe place where you don't have to worry about your podcast, your graphic conversation here. You don't have to worry about it getting ruined for you. You don't have to get angry at us because it's okay.
Lollipops and unicorns.
Everything is great.
Section.
Rainbows everywhere. And then we're going to ruin all of that and warn you.
The thunderstorm's just going to come and just sweep everything away.
Thunderstruck. And you're going to be told to stop, wait, go read it. And then come back for the spoiler-filled
Sometimes Mark
section.
will tell you to stop it before he actually tells you why.
Yeah. And then you'll go, okay, now what? I guess I can't listen to the rest of the podcast. I don't know when I'm supposed to come back. But like I said, this is what we do. We do it every other week. We've done a bunch of them so far. So if this is the first one you're listening to, please go back and listen to the other ones. If you like it, hopefully you hit that subscribe button. Maybe go on our Patreon page, patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcasts. Help us out, support us a little bit, and maybe get the next one a week early because it is a bi-weekly podcast. So you can get it early and then you know exactly what's going on. And then you can be that jackass that spoils it for everybody else. So that'll be fun. But let's talk about this first. So obviously Ghostbusters, there's a new movie coming out, and that's why we did it. But Ricky, what would be your expectations when you were coming into reading this book?
I'll be honest. My expectation was a little bit different than usual because I'm going to be totally honest. There's sometimes on A Graphic Conversation where we read things to go along with some of the movies that are coming out. And when Mark and myself were like, oh, you know what? There's the new Ghostbusters movies coming out, and it's a little bit different in the fact where it's going to be the all-female cast of the Ghostbusters. So this is one where we're just kind of reading it to go along with the movie to kind of map up with them. So my expectations kind of have gone off of that, where, okay, how much... I kind of treat it like a Marvel movie or a DC movie or a comic book movie to where, okay, usually from like the trailers, you can already see they're taking this from the comic. They're taking that from the comic. And I already saw the just, I don't think it's going to be that good, but movie for Ghostbusters. And my expectations were kind of low because I'm like, great, I'm not excited about the movie, so why would I be excited about this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you definitely are not excited about the movie at all.
I'm not. It looks horrible.
I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I just think it's going to be very hard to recapture the magic that is Ghostbusters.
Well,
Ghostbusters
you can't
2,
bottle up Bill Murray,
yeah, Ghostbusters 2 is not even anywhere near close to Ghostbusters 1.
but it's still great.
So it's going to be really difficult to pull that off. But, good luck, and hopefully they do well. So we'll see how that goes soon enough. But for me, I think coming into this, I didn't have high expectations just because, those kind of licensed properties when it's a video game or it's a graphic novel, a book, not always the best. They don't always put the most into it. A lot of times they're just trying to cash out. But they did have a nice forward at the beginning of this one where they're kind of talking about that and how, surprisingly enough, the Ghostbusters comic has done well and has been good. And they continued off and they really captured the spirit of the characters and of the actual actors involved. Because obviously guys like, Bill Murray, like Dan Aykroyd, like these are hard people to replace, to really get that. So they do a good job with that. I was nervous coming into it, but I really had a good time reading it.
Well, and it's one of those things where after you start reading it, the kind of mindset that I was in subsided a little bit. Because you start reading it, and the art style for this graphic novel is straight out of... If you love the old Ghostbusters cartoon, you're going to love this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the next question you usually ask me, Mark, is...
Who's it for?
Who's it for? And that's one of them is, if you like the old cartoons for the Ghostbusters, you'll love it because it's the same style, same animation.
Yep. If you liked anything Ghostbusters, this really is for you. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to have a good time reading it because it is so true to what the Ghostbusters are. The one thing I will say is that if you don't have any familiarity with the Ghostbusters, you're not going to dislike it, but you definitely might be like, I wish I could have some background on some of these characters. You definitely are missing out on a little bit. So if you're not a Ghostbusters fan, or not that you're not a fan, but you just have never gotten the experience, you might want that first, and also go buy the movie like immediately. Don't rent it. Just go straight to buying it. Get it and watch it right now. But yeah, you'll definitely need to do that. I think it's one of these ones that probably anybody can enjoy. It's hard too because we're starting in the middle of a comic series. The reason
why we're in the middle is, like we said, this one is most going to go along with what we may see in the movie because the old Ghostbusters have been kind of captured by those evil ghosts from the past. But I've got on my computer right now, I'm watching the old intro for the real Ghostbusters. And it fits right there because that's what it says it right in the title. This graphic novel is the real Ghostbusters. So if you love that cartoon, you're going to love this. I mean, some of the things are different. Like Bill Murray's character isn't 100%. Like you even said when you first read it and you got to Peter, it was like, okay, is that supposed to be Bill Murray?
Yeah.
That's Bill Murray's character? Because the one thing I did while reading this was for each Ghostbuster, you had to read it in their voice, in their style, the way that they would deliver it. For me, especially a Bill Murray or the character that Harold Ramis played.
Definitely. So you have all of that. I definitely encourage people to go read it or especially watch the movie. But it's good so far. We're going to be entering spoiler mode soon. Ricky, is there anything that you want to mention in spoiler-free territory still?
The one thing I want to say, this goes into non-spoiler territory, and this is kind of another thing where, like I said, and I'm saying this a lot, this is a lot, I'm comparing it a lot to the movie, but in this one you only get the kind of 4 characters that are still the Ghostbusters for the new ones. You get the Janine, you get Kylie. I almost said Kaylee again.
Nope, not Kylie.
Kylie.
Kylie Griffin.
You get Melanie, and then you get
Melanie
Ron,
Ortiz.
Which these cast of 4 is so different from what you may see what you do see in the trailer for the Ghostbusters, because the guy in the Ghostbusters is played by Thor, Chris Hemsworth, and none of the other characters fit the Janine, Kylie, or Melanie kind of look or appearance to me.
Yeah, and I don't think the movie was trying to at all. I don't think the movie cared about the comic in this case. That's definitely not the purpose.
Because I mean, when you look at, to me, Kylie, I immediately thought of Wednesday Addams from the Addams Family.
Yeah.
That's just what she kind of brought off to me.
For sure. Yeah, this is one of those things where we're reading this because of the movie, but you know that the movie and the comic are not going to be anything alike. It's like when we did World of Warcraft. We knew that wasn't going to be anything what the movie was like. So we can skip past that type of thought, but it is, obviously related, so it's exciting in that case. So with that being said, don't hit pause yet, but we're going to enter spoiler mode soon. So if you want to read this, if you don't want anything spoiled, go do it now, essentially, and then you can come back. We'll still be here. No problem there. And if you don't care if it's been spoiled or you've already read it, then come along on this journey with us. So if you don't want any spoilers, go ahead, pause now, and come back. So now that that's been accomplished, welcome to spoiler mode. It's spoiler territory
You
here.
like that thundercloud that just swept non-spoilers? All the rainbows, unicorns, and lollipops
It's all
are
gone
out the window.
Nope, it's a scary world out here in spoiler territory.
Well, it's the real world out here in spoiler town.
Yeah.
Wow, spoiler town. We gotta come up with a better
Spoiler town.
Tell me down below in the comment section what we should call this. Spoiler town, Spoilerville. Those are generic names. Tell me down below.
Spoiler apocalypse.
The spoiler apocalypse.
Yeah.
Bum, bum, bum.
It's a very scary thing. So let's talk about some spoilers here.
Okay.
It comes in and they do a decent job kind of, ushering you in if you haven't had any experience with this stuff, especially with the comics. But they get pretty right into the action, which I like. They like I mentioned before, there was a foreword to this. I don't know if you read it. But they basically were saying, they're talking about how they do a good job with the Ghostbusters comics and that they like that it's not new characters. They didn't invent anyone new. They just brought various people from different places and put them back into this new situation. So we have Griffin Ortiz.
And they even mention in the foreword.
That's not her name.
No, they even mention in the foreword about Ghostbusters 2.
Yes.
So they reference the movies already, which I liked.
Of course, because they have to. Kylie Griffin, that's her name. So she's the kind of gothic character. She works at Ray's.
Yep, Ray's.
Yeah, Ray's shop.
Because it says right here, the first panel you see of her, there's a little box that says, if she was any better at her job, Ray might try to adopt her.
Yes. So we have her. We have Ortiz, whose first name I don't remember. Melanie Ortiz, who is basically, she's into Peter.
FBI special agent.
Yeah, she likes a little bit of Peter.
Well, who wouldn't? Bill Murray's amazing, man.
She's going to visit him in New York, so that's kind of fun. Then we have, of course, we have the secretary. So we have Janine. She's there. Everybody knows her from the movies, so we don't need to really go into that too much. And then we had this other guy, Anderson? No, Andrew.
Ron Alexander.
Alexander.
Mark's bad with names, guys. That's why I'm here to help him.
That's Ricky's entire purpose. He's the names bitch.
Yeah. I think I stepped up from bitch. I'm the names
compadre.
Guru. I'm gonna use guru.
I'm gonna use names compadre.
I'm the names man, child.
I like that a little bit better. So his whole thing was he tried to make his own Ghostbusters, and it didn't work so well.
Failed horribly.
Yeah, but he did invent some nice stuff. It just went terribly wrong, and now he's in minimum security prison. So not so bad. He had some good lawyers that helped him out. So it starts off with basically all the ghosts coming. There's 4 different ghosts of different colors that come and grab one of the Ghostbusters.
Yep.
And they look a little bit similar to our Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking at the very beginning. The one that grabs Peter, I was like, wait a second. Was there something that happened in 1 through 4 that I should have read up on?
I know, right? But Ortiz does reference it of like, that ghost kind of looks familiar, right?
That ghost kind of looks like you.
Yeah, what's up with that? What's going on here? And just really nice and quick, they take them away. And I kind of like that because I was a little nervous coming into this when I was reading the foreword and stuff.
It gives you that kind of like Okay, what was that?
Yeah, I was worried that the Ghostbusters were going to already be gone. And I was going to be like, man, I missed something. I'm missing details. But no, this was very, very self-contained. The only thing that might not be self-contained are like the actual some of the background of the new Ghostbusters. You could use a little bit more, but it is very, very self-contained in that way, which is nice. So everybody gets taken away to some mystery land. We have no idea where. And then we kind of skip forward to 3 months later where we have our new Ghostbusters. And I was sitting there like, that was quick. We didn't get to see any of like the recruitment or anything like that.
It kind of plays out like a movie would, where it's like the first part where it was like, I'm going to, this might be a spoiler, but I'm not going to spoil this, but I'm going to use the reference. I'm going to try to dance around it. It's kind of like the movie Captain America Civil War, which if you've seen it, go check out Mark's review there. I plugged your shit.
There you go.
But it's kind of like what they did. Here's a scene about Bucky in the beginning from the past. Boom, title scene. Now we're in present day. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like that.
Yes.
Except it's like, hey, this kind of happened in present day, and now we're going to go 3 months into the future.
Yeah, I was just kind of expecting there to be a little bit of the recruitment aspect, but it's only 4 issues. So it doesn't have much, there's not room for fluff or anything like that. They really have to get into it. So we got the 3 girls. They are the group. They assembled each other somehow. They all want to be here. Ortiz is staying in New York because of the traumatic experience of losing Peter. So they're not letting her come back to the FBI. And then the 2 other girls are already in New York and already related to the group anyways. And they all just want to find out where the Ghostbusters went. And in the meantime, I guess we'll help some people out with their ghost problems. And they struggle a little bit, of course, because it's difficult.
Well, and I do like with that first encounter that we get on with the girls, and it's great because to me, being a Ghostbuster fan of the movie, this was straight out and kind of referencing the first ghost
Slimer
that the real ghost caught, and it was Slimer, where this ghost doesn't look anything like Slimer.
He looks, he's not
scarier.
green.
He's scary.
Yeah.
He's got horns and shit, but he's eating. He's causing a mess. He's in the fridge. And what does he do? He comes right at him and goes through.
Slimes him.
Wait, who does he go through? Or who goes through him and gets slimed?
Ortiz.
Who's Ortiz related to?
Peter.
Who got slimed in the movie?
Peter.
Yeah, boom. That got me in. I was like, fucking A, man.
References.
That's what I like. That is going straight to the movie.
And that's why you got to watch the movie if you haven't done it yet.
Well, and if
if
you haven't seen the movie, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, that just happened. But for someone like me who loved the old movies, it's like, yeah, fucking A, man.
Yeah, I love
that.
Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters was right up there in one of those, like when I was young. I just watched that movie all the time. Ghostbusters all the time. E.T. all the time.
It was on TV the other day, and I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to stop what I'm doing and just watch it.
Yeah. So they have that, but it doesn't go so well with their trying to capture the ghost. They do capture the ghost, but they, cause some damage in the meantime. Fortunately, that client is a loyal client who has good insurance, so we're not worried about that. But you know who is worried about that?
The government.
Yep. They're not thrilled. They're not thrilled at all. So this is going to cause some problems, obviously, because Walter Peck is in control of what it was, PCOS or something like that.
I think so.
That was the acronym, I think. Whatever. It's some type of government agency that's supposed to be overseeing the Ghostbusters. And it's just kind of funny that, of course, Walter Peck's character is the one that's doing it, because Walter Peck caused a lot of problems in the movies, which they reference that as well. But so their whole thing is, hey, girls, you can do this, but we want to have some control over it, and we want to make sure you do it the way we want you to do it. Part of that is merchandising, of course.
Yeah, got to make some money off this.
Yeah, they want the girls to look sexy at the same time.
Oh, when do we not want the girls to look sexy? I mean, that's the feministic way for men to do it, right?
I find it fun in that way too, of like, because when people were talking about the Ghostbusters movie,
let's just objectify them while
everybody was nervous of like, all right, what are the costumes gonna look like?
And they made them just fucking normal.
Yeah.
Whereas this comic does not. It's like, we're gonna poke fun at that.
Exactly. And then we also want you to have this guy involved too, who is, of course, Andrew? What was his name? Roy.
Ron Alexander.
Ron Alexander. Good old RA over there.
You'll get it sooner or later.
No, probably not. Good old RA, Ron Alexander. So they want him, and they are taking him out of jail, and they're going to let him go in there. I like how initially he's like, cool, so when do I get to go to the lab? I was really expecting him to kind of try and take advantage of some things and kind of like steal some secrets or something like that. Didn't happen. I mean, I guess maybe it could happen later, but
well, and it's like I just went to the scene where it's like all they're doing is a photo shoot. It's like you know, we're doing productive photos. It's like, come on, we gotta get out there. We gotta find Peter. We gotta find the guys. We gotta find these ghosts.
Later. We'll get to it.
I ain't scared of no ghosts.
They're like, yeah, you'll get to it later. First, we got to take these pictures. I like the pictures. I like the cat that gets into the pictures.
You just like cats.
I do like cats a lot.
The cats that's
they got
on
cat.
Melody's
There's the
head
one where a guy's wearing like a pink bear costume.
Yep. A pig costume.
A pig costume.
Pigs are pink.
Yeah, so are pink bears, though. Pink bears are pink.
It's a pig costume. You can tell by the nose.
Pink bears
You can
pink.
tell by the nose.
So they have that.
He's not a Huffalump.
Huffalump. That's a good reference.
That's a Winnie the Pooh reference.
Yeah. So
I'm glad you. I'm glad we can be friends.
Yeah,
That's what that means.
I got you, Ricky. So I like all this stuff. They're doing this, and then finally they do get to go in and save the day and kill some ghosts, trap some ghosts. They don't kill ghosts
because they ain't scared of no ghosts.
Ghosts are already dead. They can't. Be
Have
killed.
I made that reference enough?
No, I don't think you've made it a single time yet. So this guy comes in. Hey, you guys need to help me because he ran into a ghost with a knife. Who is stabbing people.
With a very big knife.
Yeah, it's a very big knife. And I'm like, Ghost, what are you doing here? I've never seen any ghosts in these movies stabbing people. But hey, we're going there now. So they go and they're going to save in their sexy costumes. They're going to bust a ghost. And they do. They do bust that ghost. But in the meantime, they kind of run into the problems of that costume, you know? Their knees are all scraped up. They're having trouble with the ghost. They're kind of, you're shown some of the, obviously, like if there was more time, they would show more struggle, but they really just kind of go, all right, they're struggling, now they got it.
Yeah.
Because they don't have much time. They got to go into that.
Well, I mean, and Ortiz kind of has an interaction with the ghost. And
because
it went off as something earlier in the story. Her and the one that's Kylie, the one that's Wednesday Addams
Griffin.
to me. They kind of have a discussion. Griffin shows her a book, like, hey, this is happening. And she screams out the name and it's like, got your attention, good, we found them. All 12 of your victims were recovered and laid to rest.
She recognized the face of the ghost.
Yeah.
And it was some guy that some serial killer before. And the ghost serial killer is laughing about how, you'll never find them. You know, you're not going to stop me. You can't find where they are. And she's like, yeah, we did find them. We found
and
no
she
problem.
almost got stabbed in the face. Like
Really
that
close.
knife came like.
Can somebody
that
please
close.
trap this ghost here? Anybody? Anybody want to trap the ghost?
And I love how it's like, now will one of you guys trap this ghost?
Yeah.
Where it's like, you can see like, hey, you just said fucking.
Yeah, there's a couple
we
in
can
there.
we can say that on here.
There's a couple
We
in there
don't have
where
to
they do
bleep
it.
us.
Not only it's spoiler territory, but it's swear-free territory.
No, I don't think that. These guys like that I swear, right?
No, that's
You
what I'm
guys-
saying.
you guys-
Swear-free. So,
Yeah.
well, I guess
Oh, okay.
you're free to swear. Is
Free
what I
to
meant.
swear. The way you said is like I can't.
No swears.
Yeah, they like that I swear.
No
Mark.
swears, no spoilers.
Yeah.
Now, lots of swears, lots of
Yeah,
spoilers.
see, they're cool. I swear and they're cool with it. So yeah, they're cool.
Now you got someone in the comment section going, I'm not cool with this.
There are
I am
some
not
people
into
that are.
this.
I also broke the fourth wall. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna repair that wall and we'll go back to the review.
All right. Deal. So they go into this. They do that. They are going to, take more clients later. They're going to fix their costumes.
Get a bunch of scratches on their legs.
Yeah.
That's why they gotta fix them. It's like, really, these shorts are not practical, man.
Yeah, and that's why I'm glad that they say, hey, if you want us to do anything for you again, like
need
all
some
these,
pants.
late nights, the late night circuit you want us to go on, and all these talk shows, we're gonna tell them about how you're a sexist pig. I mean, look at this costume here. If you don't give us back the coveralls, bring the original costume back, and then we get back to the original costume. So in this case, they poke fun at it. I don't know if they'll poke fun at it in the movie or not. Time will tell in that case.
Now I want to go back to something.
Do you want to go back to the
Because,
group?
Yes, we skipped the guys.
Yeah.
And And through this comic, it's like, here's what's happening with the girls, here's what's happening with the guys. And the guys are in like this Twilight Zone where it's just like a patch of land just floating. And it's like, ooh, I'm in space with all these fancy colors around. And the thing I love about these characters, how they wrote the main group, is they read exactly like I would expect if I was watching the real Ghostbusters cartoon or if I was watching the movie. Like, there's a panel where, well, it's 2 panels, and I love it because they're kind of talking, and Ray's kind of like, wait, I remember now. I was attacked by something that looked like me. And then I'm blanking on his name, Harold Ramis's character.
Egon.
Egon. I had a similar experience. It would probably be safe to say that we all did. And then Bill Murray's character says something, and Egon just swips him right up the head, just slap. And I'm like, yes, that is them.
I think that's the strongest thing about the comic
is
here.
Those 4.
Well, not even that 4, just the fact that they were able to really capture the spirit of Ghostbusters. They did it so well, where these licensed properties that they do, sometimes they struggle really capturing the true essence of what makes it what it is. No problems with that in this case. It's not, and that's going back to the forward. It's not just like a horror action comic or anything like that. It just is Ghostbusters, which really falls in line of its own genre in a way. It does its own thing so well. So glad that they could capture that. But it's good that you mentioned that because we do need to talk about the group. So they kind of discover, of course, that they are still in New York, but just in this weird fabric in between the ghost dimension and our dimension. They're just in between. So what they kind of figure out they'll do over, a series of time here, they'll just make an explosion, tear a hole in the fabric of whatever, and they'll walk through it. No problem,
just
right?
like a door. We're going to make our own door.
They can do it, and Egon's about 43, maybe 47% sure that it'll work. The majority is that it'll destroy everything.
The odds are in their favor then. That's what we're saying.
Basically, yes. Basically, that's how math works. And then the other chance is that maybe everything gets destroyed.
The Hunger Games there, Mark. The odds are in their favor.
Yeah. I only watched the first Hunger Games.
I only watched one.
Never read the book.
Mockingjay Part 1.
Yeah.
That's it. And now everyone goes,
good, right in the
wait
middle.
a second, he's not allowed to make that reference.
Right. Like, what is that? Is that the last one? Right?
Before the last one. It's
Okay.
Part 1.
So it's nice of you to see the beginning of the last movie. I only saw the first one, so we're good.
No, yeah. Together,
one movie each.
Together we can almost
Together
make
we've
the
seen
entire
about half the series.
Uh-huh.
Almost half the series. About 1.5 of the 5 movies there. So that's good. Way to go. I'm glad we're talking about the Hunger Games and the Ghostbusters podcast.
You
right
guys
now.
don't mind, right?
So they're going to go do that. But we'll skip back over into New York City with the new Ghostbusters.
To the real world.
Yeah, exactly. Where they show this psychotic guy who... Does this happen before the Viking or after the Viking?
Before
the Viking, okay.
Because I'm scrolling back to get to it.
I want to try and be chronological here.
It happens in the middle of the fight with the murderer ghost.
Cool. So they have this crazy guy who has painted all over the walls, and his psychologist is saying, hey, what did you do? Because we can't get it out. Every time we paint over it, it bleeds through. And the guy's just insane. It doesn't matter. And he's saying about how, like there was 2 or whatever, now there's 4. He's just rambling about things. And obviously, reading this comic, we know this is the guy who did something, which references, of course, a little later on when Kylie Griffin is saying, here is something we think this might be based on books that she has. But in order to do this, in order to summon these ghosts that you would need to summon to take people away, you'd go insane. Like, that's what the cost is. The cost is your soul and your sanity. Exactly. So it's just one of those same time things, of course, which those two will be reconnected soon. of course, because Kylie's going to go over to him because she gets a call from his psychologist who's saying, hey, I just heard about you guys. I heard that the Ghostbusters are back. Want to help me out at all? Because I got this guy who I think you might be able to help me out with.
Crazy.
And she starts putting 2 and 2 together that this is the guy who must have caused it. So he's also possessed, by the way. Possessed by a ghost.
And don't forget your Viking guy in the middle of all this.
We're going to get back to the Viking in a second.
I just didn't want you to forget.
There's so many storylines going on at the same time in this,
Yeah,
actually.
and I mean...
They do a good job with
that. The way
that.
we're jumping around, it wasn't as jumped around in the actual graphic novel. It was just very smooth and clean, and the one thing I really liked about it is because I think it was the length plus how they did things, everything just kind of ran like a cartoon episode.
Yeah. It definitely felt like that.
Or maybe like an animated feature of a cartoon movie.
So Kylie's going to do that. She's going to deal with the guy who's possessed and try and get him to figure things out. In the meantime, the remaining new Ghostbusters are visited by a Viking. I don't know who gives a warning to... It was Ortiz that he gave the... No, it was not. It was Janine that he gave the warning to.
But he showed up in front of Ortiz first.
Yeah. And then he gives the warning, of course, to Janine saying, hey, at midnight, this is going to happen. Have fun. That's all I got to say. And they kind of are like, what the hell is that? But they take it that he's a Viking. He is he's like a way, way distant relative. He mentioned something about her being his bloodline. And then at some point, she's going to have to face a test. Okay. Later on in New York, not midnight, though. Not midnight. They actually are visited by this ghost, and it's like just like some big monster, kind of big beast, bear-like type of creature. I don't even know exactly what it was. But so they're trying to get him. Nobody can do anything, and what's kind of being discovered by Janine here is it's me. I have to do it, but she can't. She runs. She's scared. She calls up Griffin and says, what do I do? Griffin's kind of coaching her through while also interrogating the possessed crazy guy.
Well, because, okay, I got to the part. I had to cycle through to where you are. Before we get to that bear guy, the one thing that we missed was when Kylie was talking to the possessed guy, the thing I love art-wise that they did was when they show him in the background, you can see see the different shadows of all 4 of the ghosts that have taken the Ghostbusters. Like the 2 that I see are, I want to say, the yellow one and the yellow and the green one. And then when it's a littler one, you see like the smaller red one that had taken the one Ghostbuster. I want to say it was Ray. Then they don't show one of them. So 3 of them, you get to see like the shadow behind him as he's sitting there.
Yeah. And that's all going on at the same time. He calls multiple times, which is just a funny scene. I mean, that's classic Ghostbusters. Like, hey, I'm interrogating this. Hold on one second. All right, what is it that you need now? I'll put it on silent so that way it doesn't interrupt us anymore. It's just a classic Ghostbuster type of thing here. And it's done so well. It's done really well. And basically whatever happens is she says, I need to be brave. So she's brave, and that's what's able to stop this ghost. Only Janine can stop the ghost. But then Viking comes back and goes, whoa, hold on. Not cool. You cheated. You called somebody else for help. That doesn't count. Now, my thing I kind of wondered about this was like, is this something that's going to come back later? Because it felt kind of like there was really no point to this part.
Yeah. Well, because what happens right after is he explodes, and then bam, the Ghostbusters are back.
Exactly. So it was like, was it just a vehicle for the Ghostbusters to come back? Is that important? Is something going to happen later? Was this guy going to try and kill her? Like, what was going to happen from this? I was very
You know what I think
confused.
It was? I think it was all coincidence where the point where they were trying to rip the door open just happened to be where he was floating.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things. And then it just, like, because you could see 2 panels back, it lights up. Okay, now it's a little bit lighter down his chest in a vertical line. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's going to explode. Boom. And then there's the Ghostbusters standing in white.
you know, I mean, I'm not the writer of this comic here, but I think it would have been cool if, like, maybe he's like, all right, well, you failed. I'm going to kill you now. And, like, he's going to do something like that. And that's when it happens. Because that would have made a little bit more sense to me in, like, that classic Ghostbuster coincidental fashion. But now I was kind of like, what, did we miss out something? Like, did they have more plans for that?
I feel it was one of those things, like, it's kind of like you said with the Ghostbuster, like, oh, this guy's going to hurt us, and then boom.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, we were here. Red time, right?
Yeah, I kind of felt like maybe they just they needed like 2 more panels, and they just ran out of panels or something like that.
Not like it's that hard to put 2 more panels in, right?
Yeah, you never know.
I don't know. Some of these panels do have bigger space.
Yeah, they're not getting a little thin there. So Ghostbusters are back. Life is good. They have to go to where Kylie Griffin is now to save the day. And it's fun now that everybody's back. Everyone's good. But who gets himself a little kiss? Egon gets himself a kiss.
Hell yeah, Egon getting it on.
He's getting it from Janine.
Let's get it on.
Who's got a boyfriend, if you remember. Who's not in this book. They didn't show him ever in the book. But from the movies. So what is it? What's his name? Lewis? Is that what his name is?
Talking about Ron.
No, the boyfriend.
No, I don't know.
I think it's Lewis.
Okay.
If I remember right. Someone correct me down below if you're an even bigger, Ghostbusters fan than I am. But so they go do that. Now they're going to go save the day over where she is. Life is good because we got like the ultimate Ghostbuster team here, right? We got the real Ghostbusters, the original ones, and then we got the new Ghostbusters. So this is going to be fun. And there's also, of course, that fun little interaction of what the hell is this guy doing here? Pretty sure he's supposed to be in jail. And like this, I feel like now is when we really started to get kind of some of his character out, where he was kind of the asshole. He's that arrogant dick and stuff like that. So that was fun. But for the Ghostbusters, they go in, they try and save the day. It fails. They realize, of course, I liked it. Like I have some theories. Okay, what's your theory? We need to split up. That's a terrible theory. Bad theory in that case. So they do that. They split up because the whole thought is, okay, well, for some reason, these ghosts, we can't be in one spot because they're going to gang up on us.
They're the collectors.
Yeah, these collectors, right? That's their name. There's 4 of them. They're going to gang up on us. We got to split up so that way they don't do that. Because for some reason, they noticed that one of the ghosts, I don't remember who it could have attacked. It could have attacked someone who was closer, but attacked someone further away because that's the one that collector is supposed to collect. Right? Makes sense.
Yeah.
Each one is supposed to go for one specific person. That's why they look like that person. Because we also find out that these ghosts, for whatever reason, they just like taking on the form of that person, even though that's not what they look like. Really, they just want to do it that way because they're ghosts. They get bored. They're around for millions of years doing nothing all the time. Life as a ghost, honestly, has got to be kind of boring when you really think about it. We'll get to that later.
Never thought about life as a ghost.
I think about it all the time, Ricky. But we'll get to life as a ghost later. So they split up. They realize the traps don't work. None of this is going. And of course, what is it? It's the guy. It's what he wrote on the wall. That's what it is. That's the only way they can beat these things, is if they do something with what's
on
there.
The wall. Yeah.
So, of course, Griffin, being charismatic person that she is, she's able to convince the guy, hey, you're cheating. These ghosts are cheating. And I like how the cheating thing came back. It was the Viking that did it before, and now it came back with this one, to where basically she just convinces the guy who's possessed to change it. He writes on the wall, the possessed ghost, the ghost that's possessing him, so that way they take that instead. Life is good.
Boom.
Well, we're good. Mission accomplished.
There's your little plot hole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we're going to solve the problem. Kind of like that.
Yep. Exactly. It was just like, I don't know. We're like, and this is it. Boom, problem solved. Okay, good. We're going home, everybody. Pack up. And that's like I said, it's quick.
That is a wrap.
Yeah, it's a very quick read. So that's one of the things where it's like, hey, should I read this? Yeah, you should read it.
And it also
won't even take you an hour.
And it also has in the end, to me, completely different kind of
This is what I was saying.
animation
Life is a
style,
ghost. Yeah.
where it's like
These guys looked, I think, a little bit more like the actual actors.
no, I would say maybe not even. I'm just like, it was just different than the graphic novel, to where the way I described this is just like a cartoon episode. You get your little prologue before the intro, you get your episode, then usually it's these cartoons that like end 5 minutes early, so they go to commercial and then come back, and it's a little mini story that had nothing to do with the actual story.
And I like that they do this, and I mentioned that life is a ghost, and they just have this random thing that doesn't matter like at all. They put this ghost in the containment, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so scared. What's going on? Where am I?" And this other ghost comes, who's a pumpkin head ghost, and just talking to him, talking about fear and stuff like that. And then he just basically says, "This isn't even my real form. I'm this weird jackalope looking thing. I want you to be scared because I want to eat you. And I'm going to come back. Once I collect enough fear, I get to escape from here." I was expecting the to be continued thing to pop up somewhere or something like that. Well, I was expecting that because I was thinking like, oh, this is going to be like a big enemy later on for them or something like that. Because he was talking about how he's not even supposed to be there, that type of stuff. It's like Clerks. He's not supposed to be there. It's his day off. Is there anything that you feel like? Oh, of course, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man shows up at one point.
At the end. During this one, they're kind of, the bunch of ghosts are flying by, and you see the
giant
ghost
Stay
of
Puft.
the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah, we got to mention that. Anything else that we missed that you want to say?
I don't think we missed anything this time. I think this was a flawless podcast.
We are flawless, Ricky.
Flawless victory.
What are you going to give this one?
God, I was going to ask you first.
Nope.
I think I'm going to give it a 3. And the only reason I'm giving it a 3 is, like, you guys have known me for this part of the season where I feel like you guys know my rankings as of right now. 5 is like, boom, tell your mother, tell your father, tell everybody you know they got to read this. 4 is, that was really good. That was solid. 3 is, oh, that was good. 2 was, it wasn't the absolute worst. 1 is garbage, and 0 is Peep Show.
Yep.
So that's my ranking. This was good. It was solid. Was it great? No. Was it amazing? Nah. Was it good? Yes.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Just maybe like,
it's very solid. That's it. It's just good. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just good.
Maybe if I had read more in the past or something like that, like maybe I would have liked it even more. I would have gotten more out of it. But yeah, for sure, it's just a solid graphic novel based off of a really good movie. And they did it really well. So I'm happy with it. With that being said, though, if you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you give us all those likes, those thumbs up, share, whatever, do all that stuff.
Hit us up on the
Subscribe at Most Valuable Pod is the Twitter. But subscribe to us on the YouTube. Follow us on SoundCloud. We're also on iTunes, so that's pretty cool, right? But don't forget that we are on Patreon as well. So make sure you head over to our patreon.com/Most Valuable Podcasts. So that way, if you want to support the podcast, you can do that. You can do it right there. You can get yourself an extra podcast every month. You can also go ahead and get this podcast a week early. So that's pretty cool too as well, right? I like that. I think you should like it too. But if you're a fan, if you want to know what we're doing next, that's what you got to stay tuned for. Next time, we're going to be reading Why the Last Man, Volume 2, Cycles. It's 2002. And a plague of unknown origin has killed all of the male mammals on Earth. All except an amateur escape artist named Yorick Brown and his surly helper monkey, Ampersand. Gotta love that name so much. As the last remaining Y chromosome carriers on the planet, Yorick and his pet monkey hold the fate of humanity in their hands. To ensure the survival of the species, they've teamed up with a gun-toting government agent and the world's premier bioengineer to discover the secret behind the plague. But while they ride the rails across a radically transformed America, the man-hating daughters of the Amazon are right behind them. And an unplanned stopover in the seemingly utopian town of Marysville, Ohio, may mean the end of the line for The Last Man. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks when we read Why the Last Man Cycles.
Thank you for listening to this MVP podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Most Valuable Pod for more great podcasts.